Hey, this is April from DSISD EdTech, and today I am going to show you how to use Apple Classroom as a super tool in your classroom using iPads. So the first thing I want to point out is the iPad over here on the right-hand side right here is the teacher iPad, and over on the left-hand side with the black background is the student iPad. So you can see how I will interact as a teacher using Apple Classroom and as a student. So the first thing I want to do before I get started is make sure I have Classroom installed on my teacher iPad. You do not need it installed on the student iPad. And first thing I'm going to see is just a welcome screen. I'm just going to press continue. And I'm going to go ahead and enter my teacher information to get my class started. So I'm just going to type in my name that the kids would know me by. And I'm going to put a picture in, and this helps serve as a visual indicator for students who might need just that picture of you to know who they are sharing work back and forth with. Go ahead and create a class, and this is going to be, if I teach second grade or first grade, Miss, whatever, Mr., your, second grade class, first grade class. Or even if you teach art, you could put, you can make an Apple Classroom for every single class that you use iPads with your students. Choose a color. This is just a visual indicator to separate courses, and then press done. All right, so you can see I have my first class built, and you can have this whole page over here, with as many classes as you'd like. And you would just hit the plus sign to create a new class. Once you have created your class this first time, you don't need to do this over again, so it just takes a little bit of time up front, and then you are good to go. So I'm going to go ahead and invite my students. And then what this is going to do is it's going to activate on the student side the ability to join your class, and it uses Bluetooth technology to do that. So what students are going to do is they're going to tap on settings, and then they will see Classroom right underneath Bluetooth. So right over there on the left-hand side, right under Bluetooth, you'll see Classroom. And then it says you have an invitation. So I'm going to add Miss Tiger's first grade class. And I've already done this, so what I suggest is having students type in their first name and then maybe their last initial, just in case there's two kiddos with the same last name. And they can add a memoji picture, or they can just select their name and use this in Classroom, and that will just put their initials. All right, and then it says to enter the code provided by the teacher. So you can see on the right hand side, the code right here is 8240. And then you'll see that Johnny is added to my first grade class. Poor Johnny. I don't know why it's always Johnny. It just is. Okay, so the other thing that I would highly suggest is that you have the students just switch a few settings before they get out of this screen. And the first one is join classes automatically. That way, every class session that they come, or they're in your room, or if you're a music teacher and they come to the music class, they just automatically join your classroom once they are in the room with you, since we're using Bluetooth technology here. And then the other thing that I would suggest is have this on always, so that the teacher can use this as a classroom management tool to lock and unlock devices, mute them, which is all the power that we love about Classroom. So just make sure that that is on always. And then the student is done signing into the class. So now I'm just going to press the home button. And on the teacher side, normally when you do this with a group of students, you will have this whole area populated with students. So as soon as I have all of my students invited and accepted the invitation and signed up, then I can press add. And then you will see all of these students populate within this classroom. Now that our student has joined our class, I'm going to switch my view so that my teacher view over here on the right hand side is in landscape mode, because landscape mode has the best classroom experience for teachers, and it doesn't really matter what view students are using. I think it depends on the application that they are using. So let's go over some of the actions that I have. Over here is where I'm going to start, and we have this is just lets you toggle to see all of your students. And then you have some other views on this side. So this will show you all of your students, what apps are currently being used, and this is where you can make groups. And groups are really helpful for creating rotations or centers or stations, and you can open those apps and lock students in those apps so that they can't get out, and we'll go over that in just a second. And then here you have an agenda, which we can get into in another video. So this is the view and on that top level menu right here. And then over here on the top of this screen, we have an open. This is kind of the open in all of the apps. So if I wanted to open an app for a student or all of my students, what's really great about this is I don't have to tell students and take the time to say, okay, we're going to open up this app. This is what it looks like. Here's the visual indicator. Which, by the way, I like to print out app icons and put them on popsicle sticks and kind of hold that up so it gives students that visual indicator of what app we're going to be using and what it's for. That promotes more independence when they're working in, on their own. But let's just say I was going to have a station and they were going to be using Starfall. The first thing I'd want to do is toggle this on so it locks students in Starfall after I've opened it, and then I'm going to tap Starfall. So now I'm going to press done and unlock that so that student isn't locked in that app. What's beautiful about that is even if a student tries to tap the home screen and get out, they can't until I have unlocked them. So that is really nice for a classroom management tool. The other thing that I love is just navigating students to a website. There's a couple of different ways you can do that. So I'm going to tap on this, what kind of looks like the Safari icon right here to navigate. And if I have something saved in my favorites, I can access it from this page, and I can also lock them in that app so that they can't go anywhere else after I've navigated them to the website. So for this, I am going to use split screen because I'm going to show you something that you can do using split screen and Safari. So I'm just going to gently swipe up from the bottom of my screen, and I'm going to hold Safari down and just drag it to the side so that I have my split view opened up. And in here, I'm going to type in the URL of the website that I want my students to go to. And I'm going to find the exact page that I want them to explore. There's two different ways that I can do this. I can go to the share arrow, and I can use AirDrop, and I can send this website right here to my whole class, and my whole class will receive it at the same time. So I can do it that way, or I can just drag this website over to my, just one student or a student, and that will automatically open up that website on that particular student's screen. So you have a few different ways that you can share. I love using the split screen because I feel like it makes productivity easier and sharing and doing multiple things at multiple times a little bit easier. This is a viewer that allows you to see different views, what students are working on. So I can always see, here's Johnny, this is what app he's in. He's just in the home screen. So if he was in notes, that would change and show me just a little visual indicator of what application those students are in. If I tap these four little circles, then I can actually see their screens and see exactly what they're doing in real time. So you can see if I went to draw on this screen, you would see it appear. See that little squiggle line? You can see that appear. Great feature. I love to just be able to, if I'm working with a small group, just to be able to glance at students and see that they are on task and working. Now let's look at the hide feature. What this does is it allows students' screens to go back to the home screen just for another way to focus on attention. It's just temporary. I also really like this feature for individual students when you are presenting in front of the class and you can just tap on, one person's uh, device and just hide their screen. Next one is the lock screen, and I love this because this is a quick way to get students' attention or transition. So just put a lock that says this has been locked by your teacher, and you instantly get their attention, and you can give them directions for the next steps. Then you just have to press unlock and it will unlock their device. This is the same thing for mute. If you tap this button, it will mute their device, and that's super helpful for especially if they're using any kind of application with audio and your room is getting pretty loud and you need their attention, and it will mute all of their devices at once. Then we have the three dots right up here. You can invite more students, remove students from your class, or in the class, which is what we will do when we are finished with this session so that you can see how you get a report generated. Now, the next thing I want to show you is sending students different maybe templates that you build in different applications. So one of my favorite applications is Keynote, and I will build templates for students to work on, and I want to share it with them so that they can start working on it immediately. Of course, I could share it through Google Drive or Canvas, but this is an instant way and all students receive the item at the same time. I'm just going to go to Keynote, and I have this activity already. It's just a cat in the hat Keynote template that I've created for students, and I can go to the three dots right here and go to Share, back to AirDrop, and I can send this to my entire class, and they all will receive it at once. And let me show you another way using split screen. So as long as Keynote is down on your dock, I'm just going to drag it over to the side. And I can just drag this and share that with students as well. So there's two different ways that you can do that. Just share it the other way. And you'll notice that it will open up on that student's iPad and ask to accept it. Yes. And there is the template on my student device. So again, very powerful for sending and receiving work, and they can send work back to you as well, back to the teacher when they are finished, or however else you would like to collect it. It's really great also to use Apple Classroom for showcasing on your larger screen student work. They don't necessarily have to turn it into you. They can just showcase and present and share using your device connected to your projector. Johnny is finished. He wants to present. So I'm just going to tap on his particular screen, and I have some options just to interact with that one particular student. So I can AirPlay, I can hide this student, I can mute, lock, and that's really good for individual classroom management. So I might want to view their screen, and then it views their screen large while I'm projected, or I can even use AirPlay and AirPlay their screen to the projector, which sometimes that just takes a little bit more time. So I think viewing the screen, as long as the teacher device is connected, is a great alternative. We are done with our class for today, and I'm just going to go to the three dots and go to End Class. And then you'll see all of the apps that were used in this session during this class period. And all of my students, you would definitely have a lot more down here. So let's just say you wanted a little bit of insight into Johnny's activity during the class period. If I tap on that, it'll show you exactly how many minutes they spent in what application